It's a question that's on many men's minds 24/7. What the hell should I discuss when there's a beautiful woman in front of me? And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to say. At all times, from now until eternity, you'll always have the perfect topic for this specific setting that you're in. So yeah, what topics to discuss with women? I am going to tell you right now, we're going to be looking at this for the flirting stage, you know, first date, maybe second date, maybe after an approach or on a texting app. This is not for when you already know her for a long time. This is not for what to discuss with your wife of 10 years. Cool. Anyway, so early stages. I'm going to take a random one here that, you know, let's pick one that let's just instantly shit on one here. The environment. The environment. Who cares? Unless you're dating hippies all the time, then you have to pretend like you care. Otherwise, you shouldn't really discuss the environment. Let's pick one that is very good here. It says she, but what the person who prepared these thumbnails for me meant is her. You all know the stupid cliche quote at this point. The favorite word in every person's vocabulary is me. Pretty much everyone wants to talk about themselves. Unless maybe people that have the lowest self-esteem in the world. I wonder, do they still want to talk about themselves and just vent about their problems? Maybe not, but you don't want to be dating those anyway. So yeah, this is super good to discuss on any date. Also, I've talked to so many women about good dates they had, bad dates they had. And if a guy is just not asking any questions about the girl, you're not doing a really good job. It feels like there's no legit interest. And very likely she's not going to want to see you again. And of course, this is the topic of this video. You want to talk about her? Sure, but what should you ask about her? So I think we should combine the she topic with other topics from this video. For example, let me pick one, a really good one. Here, hobbies. Ask about her hobbies or interests or passions. I'm all gonna put them in the same category. Go digging a little. What does she like to do in her free time? And then of course, if you're discussing the more surface levels of these things, you can delve a little bit deeper. What got you into those? Usually, by the way, if you guys are really into something, it probably comes from a deep drive, something that happened in the past. For example, I like boxing. Why do I like boxing? Because I was a mega pussy back in the day that was extremely scared of violence. And now I love to conquer this challenge. I used to play a lot of soccer. Why? Well, pretty much because my dad was big into soccer and you kind of try to do what your dad did, I guess. And the same thing goes for her. There's a bunch of hobbies, passions, interests that she has. Discuss them. What does she like about them? How does it make her feel? This is another key thing. How do things make you feel? That is always going to be part of pretty much any topic. You guys hopefully already know that seduction happens by creating emotions. If someone's bored, they're never going to be seduced. If they feel all sorts of feelings, negative and positive, mostly positive, they are going to be seduced. So that's why we're also going to throw this bad boy up here. Boom, emotions. And this is starting to look very good already. Talking about her, emotions, and hobbies. Now be careful with emotions, guys. The stereotypical thing is like, guys shouldn't talk about emotions. I feel like that's very passé. You guys already know it's okay, but you want to do it the proper way, right? If you're talking about her and some things she really likes, then you could dig in like, why do you like it? How does it make you feel? And the same thing is you can share those things about yourself as well. I really love doing this. It makes me feel like that. I really hate that fucking shit because it makes me feel like this. That is perfect. That actually would probably already improve 90% of you guys' dates. So keeping those emotions in mind, I'm going to pick childhood and I'm probably put childhood somewhere in the middle there because childhood, what happened in your youth, maybe you have some glorious, happy memories, but you probably also have some fucking shitty memories of the time when your mom or your dad was an absolute douchehole. They're probably not going to be discussed on a first date unless it's a really long date and you each had one glass of wine too much. But then again, shit gets super intense and there's a high probability that the next day she's like, Fucking hell, did we really go all there? Oh my God, this is going a bit too fast, too soon. So childhood, I'm going to put it in debatable in the middle because I think it's not really first date. It's maybe more so, let's say around the third date. And of course, that is because the emotions linked to this topic are often intense and a lot. Conspiracies, I throw it right in the middle. I think this is quite fun to talk about, I guess. Most people don't really believe in conspiracy theories. I feel like a lot of people like the topic because, oh my God, what if? And it's exciting, all these stories. But for most conspiracies, you probably have to be not the brightest person to really buy into all of that stuff. So sure, if there's one that's hyped at the moment, yep about it for a little bit, then let it go. We're going to put it there in the middle. And I'm going to select a few from this list that we still have to discuss that I don't want to waste too much time on, and they have to go somewhere. So I think memes is kind of on par with conspiracies. Sure, if there's a meme that's currently popping, you can briefly weave it into a conversation, but you're not going to be looking at your phone and discussing memes with someone for an hour. And on that same level, celebrities and TV shows. This type of stuff, it's a bit shallow. It's cool to, when it comes up, discuss it for a little while if you feel like it, if she feels like it, and then move on to a better topic like dumb shit. Judging by the photo of this guy just being like, I'm gonna assume it's everything that's not serious, that is fun, that makes you laugh, and that's why I'm gonna put it at the very top. Never, ever, ever forget when someone doesn't really know you well and they're debating whether you're a cool person and they want to spend more time with you, yes or no. Highly likely they want to have a good time. People like having a good time. It's also one of the reasons why here at TextGod, I try to make the whole process of learning dating fun. It's one of TextGod's core values. And I firmly believe that if you're not having a good time while learning all of this, it's going to be not only very tough to stick it out, you know, learning dating can be very fucking tiring. There's a bunch of rejections. There's some hard truths that you need to face. If you really want to get good at all this stuff, you might have to dig in some stuff of your past. That's not always super fun. So the more fun we can make it, the better. People just like having fun. It's also why I say for you guys that are building a nice Instagram that helps you with dating, the main goal of your Instagram should be for a woman to look at it and she goes, this guy seems pretty fun. Like, it would be fun to hang out with this dude. So dumb shit goes at the top. And dumb shit is perfect to cycle, interchange, whatever, my English is not good enough, with, you know, her and more emotional topics. Those three we have at the top right now. That's super good. You can have a deeper conversation and laugh it off, talk about some dumb shit. There's a funny dog walking past, talk about him. There's another couple on a date and it looks super awkward. You could make up scenarios of like how the dude is fucking it up or what the hell is going on there. That type of stuff is fun. So that also brings me to here, the thing others. I'm gonna put others not at the complete top, but in the yep thing. I know there's these quotes that you see flying by on Instagram where they say, dumb minds talk about others, smart minds talk about themselves or something. What is it? And then genius minds talk about ideas. I'm probably messing up the quote, but the whole idea is talking about others, focusing on others instead of yourself, and fun ideas. Just gossiping is dog shit, and it's what dumb people do. But the person who said that quote didn't keep in mind dates. It is super fun to just watch some people, make up some stories, point out things that you see around you, involve your environment in whatever is going on with you and the girl. Have you ever swiped a bunch on Hinge, and have you seen how many girls mention something like people watching, how much they enjoy people watching? Do you enjoy people watching? Maybe you're antisocial and you don't, but most people do. Fucking hell, I love it. That's why people love sitting in a coffee bar. You can see what everyone else is doing and think about what their life would be like. Use your fantasy. So yes, discussing others goes in yep. That's why we're also going to throw we here, where again, the person preparing this didn't mean we, the person meant us. And I'm going to put you. That is you talking about yourself. Don't make the mistake that a lot of guys make where they're just talking about themselves all the fucking time. You must have seen the memes about this too, where women are complaining that guys are just talking about themselves the whole time, ask no questions. You talk about yourself when she asks, right? When she asks something about you, you can answer it. And you don't have to give the 120% detailed story of everything she asks, rather tone it down a little bit. And if she wants to know more, she can ask more. That is kind of how the whole concept of mystery works. You only share about yourself what is directly asked for, and you don't share more than is needed. The whole we, us thing, of course, a core concept within the flirting method of TextGod is togetherness. It's you and her. It can be future projections. You can make up a bunch of stuff. All that stuff is great. You only don't want to do too much of it early on in the date. And seeing that this video is about things to discuss in the earlier stages of dating, I think it's still great, but don't overdo it. And then there's stuff like this here. I'm going to put it in the middle for now. This is the man-woman, male-female dynamics. You see some women put it on their dating apps, like, I want the man who's in his masculine and who allows me to be in my feminine. And I'm pretty sure that deep down, that's what every woman wants, and every man wants to feel like that man when he's with a specific woman, and every woman wants to feel like a little queen when she's with this guy. But is this really these dynamics? Is this something that you want to discuss on a date? I think it's rather something that you don't directly discuss, but through how you behave on the date, she notices that you are a guy that understands a man's duty and how he behaves, and that allows her to be the woman that she deeply craves to be. So I'm not going to say it's something to really discuss about. I'm going to say try to avoid it. It's more so subcommunicated as a byproduct of your behavior during the date. Make sense? We have no forbidden topics yet, huh? So let me grab some here. Money. We're not going to talk about the dumb stuff. Job. Religion. Politics. Oh my God, this was easy. Look, again, there's some nuance here. If you are a hardcore Christian and you're also looking for a hardcore Christian, then of course you're going to talk about this and you're going to bring it up. And then you guys will most likely like each other a bunch more because you share these values. If you're not a very religious person and the other person is religious, I wouldn't talk about this too much. I feel like these are things that people either point out on their dating profiles, or if you meet someone in real life, you figure it out rather soon. If it is a big deal breaker for your values in life, you know, if religion is very important to you, same with politics, by the way, you've got to figure them out really quickly. Is this something that we clash on, or are we good here? If it's good, talk about it as much if you want. If you clash, you're with the wrong person. And anything in between, I say it's not really a forbidden topic. Maybe they go here. But yeah, I'll tell you from my personal experiences, and there are multiple ways to enjoy dating and get good results and meet the women that you like. Me, I've pretty much never talked about politics in the 7,000 billion dates that I've done. Same with religion. Money and job. Again, I wish everything was just never talk about this all the time. But something as your job, there are plenty of people. Like I had a call this week with a friend, good friend. We hadn't caught up in a while. We're on a call and he's pretty much feeling like a sack of shit because he completely hates his job. He's trying to find a new one. It's not so easy. For most people, their job is really something that they do because they need money to live life. There are not so many people who get to do what they really like to do. So that's why I just generally wouldn't really discuss the job so much. If you notice that the other person is using their job as a means to an end to get money, there's no need to talk about it much more. If they really love their job and you feel like they just want to yap about it, let them yap about it. Ask some questions. If you really love your job and you notice that she's interested in it, you can yap about it too. But then again, be careful because then we're here again. Then it's you just talking about you, and you got to be careful with that. Money, I mean, you have to be some sort of retard to think that you got to talk about money and the money you have and how expensive this thing is that you bought and this experience that you're about to do and all that stuff. You also have to be a bit of a retard if you don't have a lot of money and you then what? You're going to complain about it? Really, money, just don't really talk about it. By the way, I have a bunch of clients who are very wealthy and have a lot of money, and my advice for them is always to hide their money. Don't bring it up. Don't arrive to the date in a $15 billion car, and don't go to the fanciest restaurants and all these things. Bringing money in the picture is really a distraction from your personality, and you want to find out, is there a potential connection? Is this person fun? Do their values align with mine? Is there a future here? Unless if you're looking for hookups. But, generally money, no. Speaking of the values, I just brought them up. I'll put them here in the middle for now. That is interesting, but honestly, if I have to make a long story short, values is more so something for serious relationships. You want to use them to filter out potential partners. If I just want to sleep with you because you have a rack that deserves my undivided attention for at least one night, then I don't really care what your values are. But if I'm looking for a life partner, someone to help build a beautiful life and potentially get a little puppy dog, then yes, your values are super important. But we've established that this is more early phases of dating. Well, we have not established whether we're looking for someone serious or not. But also from my experience, I know that most guys who come to us for help, they are really looking for a partner sooner or later. They don't mind having some fun along the way, but they are looking for someone. So the values, I'm going to put it an yep. And that also means that I'm going to put family right next to it. Your family is close to you. If you're looking for someone serious, their family kind of comes with them. Not always. Some people also absolutely detest their family. But should it be debatable? I'm going to go back to my own experience. I don't think I talked about my family very much on my dates. And it's definitely not necessary. But it can be fun, especially bringing up, then we're going more into the childhood thing, but especially bringing up fun memories that you had, good times that you had, occasionally a very shit time that you had. Yeah, I'm going to put it right here, next to the childhood. They kind of belong together. Speaking of childhood and family, trauma is always linked to those bastards. I'm going to say try to avoid. There is not really a need to talk about your trauma in the early stages of getting to know someone. It's not a forbidden topic. A lot of guys, and I feel like this is more an American thing than for European guys, but a lot of guys still think that they should not open up. Vulnerability is not okay. You cannot discuss any of that stuff. You'll be weak, mega beta, cocky boy that will watch his future wife get banged by everyone who's alpha and sigma at the same time. That is not true. I would still say though, trauma, try to avoid it in the early stages of meeting someone. Instead, talk about travels. Here, yep. Why are travels good? It's an adventurous topic. You're getting to know someone we already established. You want them to have a good time. You want them to know the fun things about you, the fun adventurous things you did. You want to know the fun adventurous things they did, the travels they did, maybe why they did them. And it's all within this frame of adventure, usually more spontaneous things. And that is a good frame to have for your dates, right? Because you want stuff to happen there as well. So travels is good. It's usually the craziest stories, and people love crazy stories. Achievements, I'm going to say debatable. And I think a lot of guys would put this higher. Most guys would love the girl to know that they ran a super fast marathon, or they won the friggin' spelling bee contest. Nerds. Or they made a lot of money. Forbidden topic. But here's the thing with achievements. Achievements are really way more impressive when you don't just bring them up yourselves. And if she's digging for them, then you're allowed to share them. But it's not something that you really have to talk about. Now, let's say your achievement is not necessarily you winning some sort of contest, but it's more so something that you struggled with for a long time and now you're doing better. You could share that, that's more the emotional route again. I would only really bring it up if she's the one knocking on the door. Same with wins. Guys, please notice this. Achievements and wins, they are debatable. It's not something that you discuss on every date or that you yap about all the time. There is really not much more unappealing or unattractive than a guy yapping about his own achievements and his wins and his money. Being humble and not being a self-selling, what do you call it, qualifying dude, that goes a really, 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 really long way. I think it's the equivalent of us guys when we see a really pretty girl. You know, there's two types of pretty girls. There's the one where you go to your friends and you're like, man, she really knows it. And it's kind of a turn off. She knows she's super hot and she's like acting that way. But then there's also the pretty girls that when you see them and you interact with them, it's almost like they're not even aware how pretty they are. That is for us dudes, if you have achievements and wins and you're not rubbing them in everyone's face, best case scenario, she only discovers 10 dates in that you have this amazing thing that you achieved or this wins or you have this successful company or you're actually the best kickboxer in your country. It's amazing if she only finds that out way longer. That's the equivalent of a hot girl who doesn't even seem to be aware that she's hot. All right, almost there. We have challenges left. We have spirituality. We have sex. Ew. And we have art. Art first, because it's the most boring. It's debatable. If you're really big into art and you're dating these artsy girls, the whole ranging from Tumblr girls to art students to incredibly poor aspiring musicians, then you're going to talk about this type of stuff more, of course. But yeah, it's also a decent date ID to visit a museum. You know what? Music is art, right? And talking about music is pretty good too. I'm going to put it in the yep yep thing, actually. Although you could argue that movies and TV shows are also art. Art goes in yep yep. Sex. Now we're going to keep sex for last, huh? You want to know whether you should yep about sex or not. And you think that you know the answer, but you don't. Challenges. You know, challenges are kind of, if you have a positive mindset, a challenge is an achievement or a win that still has to happen. They are more fragile, more vulnerable, because a win already has a happy ending. And the same with achievements, whereas a challenge could still go wrong, so you could still be a failure. You could still face rejection and a loss. It's more vulnerable, therefore it is more emotional. It could lead to trauma. So it's a bit more deep. I don't think you have to avoid them, really. It really depends who you're talking to as well. You know what? It's debatable. I'm gonna have faith in you that you can pull this off. Yeah, you can talk about your challenges, just don't talk about it for too long. Don't make it all about you. Have your moment of maybe vulnerability, discuss that stuff, and then flip it back to her. Not like, what are your challenges and where are you potentially going to get traumatized real quickly? But, you know, ask a question about her. Like, hey, you said earlier that you're into this. How come? Blah, blah, blah. Or enough about my challenge, which I'm inevitably going to nail or mess up at some point. Look at that dog. Or look at that couple right there. Look how awkward the guy is behaving. Are you not happy that you are with me, who is doing at least 5% better than that guy? All right, spirituality. Now, spirituality, guys, that's something completely different than astrology. It's not like, oh, are you a Tauran as well? Damn, I'm a night elf. That is astrology. Spirituality is, I would say, more sort of process of getting to know yourself, looking inside, meditation and all that stuff. Again, it really depends who you're talking to. If you're not making it too heavy, then I think it's yep yep. You definitely don't have to avoid it. No, I think it's pretty good. As with everything that we've discussed in this video, each and every one of these topics, you can make them really heavy and deep, vulnerable, emotional, or keep them more surface level, right? We're only rating them because each topic has a likeliness of being more surface level or more deep. And so spirituality usually is a bit more deep. I think that's why I'm going to say debatable, but it's not something that you yep about all the time. And that brings us to sex. Sex is a forbidden topic. You didn't know that, did you? And now don't lie to me. It is not really a forbidden topic. We have to think about it for a second. It kind of is a forbidden topic in the way where the guys in my mentoring program, I always tell them, no sexual shit in your fucking profile. No sexual remarks early on in your Bumble, your Tinder, your Hinge, your Coffee Meets Bagel, your whatever conversations. You want to refrain from this a little bit until there is more attraction there and there's enough comfort as well to weave in the sexuality. When discussing sexual stuff, you also preferably want to do it with is the word innuendo, where there's ambiguity in what you're saying. It's not just, hey, by the way, I eat ass on the first half of the first date. And it looks like that's about right now. But it is going to be a little bit more vague. It's going to be things that she can interpret in multiple ways. First thing that comes to mind, you're on your date and there's a guy walking past with a girl and one of them trips over their feet, stumbles a little bit or whatever. Yeah, then you could go, what have they been doing that makes them walk like this today? That will get you way further than this super direct statement that I said earlier. Now, you know, sex, I am all for a little bit of positive tension. But I would say don't directly discuss sex, rather have strong eye contact. Play with proximity. Lean in one moment, lean back the next. Subtle bicep flex, maybe. These type of things. When there's a tease, you know, you give the person a quick slap or a push, or you pull them in during a compliment, whatever it is. Directly discussing sex is only going to happen when it's clear that you're both looking for more short-term or some fun things. You notice that it's at least a bit on. I'm all for guys taking risks when you're not sure where you stand, but you really know what you want, and you're just like gonna throw in spicier topics, because if she's not having it, well, then you just don't know what to do anymore, and you know you need to know you're not wasting your time. But in general, I would say in 80% of all cases, you don't want to talk about it. There, try to avoid. Boom. Print this out on a paper, fold it, put it in your back pocket. When you don't know what to say during your next Hinge conversation, whip it out. When you don't know what to say during a date, say, oh my God, look behind you. Whip it out, fold it back, continue the date. Guys, all this being said, all these topics being ranked, please do remember that it's not necessarily what you say, but more so why you say it and where it comes from. So you can have the perfect lines if they come from a bad place, if they come from a position of neediness or insecurity. The best lines are not going to do much for you. The best topics are not really going to do much for you. If you talk about one of these things here, you talk about travels and value and art only because you saw in a video that these are really good things to talk about, but you don't really care about them at all, or you haven't even figured out your values. You don't give a single shit about art, but you just want to impress the girl. It's gonna backfire, right? It's a useful framework to get a little bit more direction, but in general, you want to know why you talk about the things you talk about. You want to know how to deliver. You want to know how to carry yourself, and all those things. If you want a little bit more help with these things, there's always my mentoring program. I'm not going to talk about it more. You can have a free call with us if you want. It's somewhere down below. If not, and you just want to watch more content, learn a little bit more today without having to talk to another person or spending dollars, then I recommend watching this video.